First item on the agenda, 23-24-42, apologies for absence. We have just got Mark Trulove, which everybody's seen.
Paul
Seconded, all in favour? Yeah. 23-24-43, disclosures of interest, to receive declarations of interest from councillors. Tonight, no.
In the interest of clarity, I live on Otley Road, close to the Heights Lane site, but I don't think it's a pecuniary interest.
Have we received any written requests? No. 23-24-44, minutes of previous meeting, approve the minutes held on Tuesday the 8th of August, which you've all seen circulated. David proposed, Philippa second, all in favour?
Just one abstention, I was there.
And one abstention, Mr.
Mayor.
Mayor wasn't here, was he?
That's right.
Councillor Mayor. 23-24-45, confidential items. Any we're not confidential, have we? Turn over. 23-24-46, public participation. Members of the public are reminded that this is their opportunity to speak to the meeting on any topic relevant to the agenda. However, they may not speak during the rest of the meeting unless specifically invited to do so by the chairman. So, would you like to just speak on Heights Lane?
Yes, I'll keep it very brief.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
right. What I'll do then is I propose that we move Heights Lane from number 3 to number 1.
Yeah, do it
Are
now.
we all in
Yeah.
favour?
Yeah.
Yep. We'll move it to the top. So we'll be discussing it in a minute.
That's fine.
Just give us time. Want anything else anybody wanted to say? Was there no? No. 23-24-47, ongoing issues. Notified planning panels. We haven't have we are planning appeals or any appeals, no? 23-24-48. To note the planning decisions from Bradford Council, which are circulated tonight by Nicola. Thanks as always for Nicola to doing that. I ought to just remember as well, Nicola, but can we minute our thanks to Eve for taking the meeting last time?
Yeah.
Please. I forgot, I was going to mention that at the beginning. So, we're not doing so bad on them. I think there's only a couple of new ones. I think we seem to be getting better at
We're getting them right, aren't we?
we seem to be. Yeah, we seem to be.
But there's no such thing as right. There's our opinion. And
There's our opinion what's good for Bingley as
Yeah.
against Bradford's opinion of what you're getting.
it-
Maybe sometimes we might not agree.
Eloquently put.
but we need to learn for some of their reasons when we
Right then.
and they refuse.
23-24-49, consideration of planning cases. We're going to discuss number 3 first, which is number 3, 23/02658, land at grid reference, Heights Lane, Elwick. So, shall I ask the member of the public to say what she'd like to say then?
Thank you. Can I stay here?
Yes, of course you can. You don't have to
Okay,
vote.
yes. I'm Jean
But you-
Aldgate. I live in Elwick and I've lived there.
You do know. Sorry, just
Oh, yeah.
before you do,
Sorry.
we do record these and they are available on YouTube. So as
Yeah,
long as
that's fine.
It is
as long as
it
you're
is going
aware
out.
that that's
Yes,
that's
yes.
what's going to happen.
Yes, of course. I've lived in Elwick for 42 years, and a long time ago, I think, no, I'll just say a long time ago because I'm not sure of the year, a planning application was made for this very same spot, and it was declined due to the inappropriateness of Heights Lane, which is a narrow, winding country road with blind bends and no pavement. It was considered unsuitable for any development to access the road. It was then put back into Greenbelt because it had been taken out for the planning purpose, and it was put back into Greenbelt because it was decided that for the future it should not be considered because of the road. So that's our main thrust really. The people who are objecting to this are objecting mainly because of the road. But the second very big thing, they're equal really, is the fact it's Greenbelt, and Greenbelt has 5 purposes according to the National Planning Policy Framework. And this piece of land satisfies 4 of the 5. It's said that if 3 of the 5 satisfy it, then it should not be used for building, but it does satisfy 4 of the 5. I won't go through them because I'm sure that you know what they all are, but they're all really appropriate. A big one is the fact it's 2.5 kilometres from the moor, from the south, not South Sheffield Moor, South Pennine Moors, and so within that space there are animals and birds that feed and nest and live. And it's considered to be a part of the world that should be protected. It's also adjacent to the Prince of Wales Park, which is a heritage site, Grade 2 heritage site. It has old deciduous trees, and it's important, of course, for bats. Lots of bats. I see lots of bats feeding over the fields, and other animals. It's also a green corridor from the moors down through the fields and through the park into Gilstead Moor. This green corridor for deer that we see a lot, to block it off would affect the wildlife.
Okay.
So in short, that's our thrust. We think it's inappropriate. It's been found inappropriate before. Nothing's changed to make it any better. In fact, it's worse. Sorry, one little addendum, which is that at the bottom of Heights Lane is a mini roundabout which is already insufficient for the roads which access it. It has 5 arms plus a driveway, and that's below spec for national guidelines for highways. And it is a biggie because there are accidents on there. There's been one very serious one in recent times.
In January this year.
There's been a fatality.
With a fatality
Yeah.
in January this year.
It was horrendous, and it's very, very difficult to use, and a lot of people who don't use it properly create difficulties. So yes, that's
Okay.
what we feel, and we hope. That
And I just add to that, thanks Jean, that as we understand it, green belt can only be lifted in exceptional circumstances, and we don't think the circumstances are exceptional. And we, even ourselves, as just a group of people who live in Eldrick, have identified many brownfield sites in this area that could be regenerated and used instead of using green belt fields. But that's the only thing I would add.
Can I just ask you, you're not taking notes of the minutes?
No, I was just no.
Alright.
I didn't know if it was allowed or not.
No.
But I don't have to. No,
No.
I haven't typed anything.
I just saw you were, you know.
No.
You better type them off
Can I just
YouTube.
add?
Right,
Can I just add, sorry?
yes,
As equal longevity to Jean, resident, you may remember that the huge development that took place that we know as Landsmore was never allowed access to Heights Lane. They had to go all the way back round into the middle of Bingley, in the middle of Eldrick, to exit. So it'd be interesting to see what their reaction would be. And the other thing, as Jean mentioned, was about the park. That anybody coming into the park would have presumably look for some kind of exit. And one of those exit points would be into the middle of Park Road. So any children who were coming out of this new development using that route into a very busy road, and unless you're going to put some lights in the Prince of Wales Park for these people to get through in the middle of darkness, it's ridiculous. So,
yeah,
thank you.
thank you. Where is that, David?
As you go down past the roundabouts,
Yeah.
it's on the left.
Going down
There were-
towards,
The post office at Eldwick.
yeah,
It's up on the left, and then there was a development up there, and then there was a subsequent development to the left,
Right.
which abuts Height Lane. So I think as Mr. Murfield annotated, that they couldn't access that development through onto Heights Lane. They had to go back through the Landsmore and Dales Way development, whatever it is.
Yeah.
anyway,
That's right.
right, thanks for that. Right, David.
That's halfway down
Right,
the village. I've got one or two comments, and not all of them are mine. I'll have to liven this thing up again. Bear with me a second. I'm actually going to use Bradford Metro's own comments regarding the sites. There was a call for sites for development. There's 2 sites, and the call for development was 21 units plus 18 units, the 2 fields that they now want 70 on,
That's not strictly true.
roundabout.
No, because they've extended the sites,
Yeah,
haven't they? Beyond the ones that
Yeah.
Bradford.
yeah, that had
have
actually
put
been
forward.
concluded in their
Yeah.
call for land. So, new development here could adversely affect the setting of sensitive heritage asset. Loss of greenfield site is also to have a negative impact upon the local landscape, townscape, including Prince of Wales Park, a registered park stroke garden, which is 50 metres south. Site falls within, as already mentioned, 2.5 kilometres of the South Pennine Moors, Spa, SAC and HRA, which are terms for poor little animals to live on. Based on planning judgment, the site has a major potential impact on the greenbelt. Site makes a contribution to the purpose of including land in the greenbelt, and the 5 purposes were mentioned previous. The site does not present an opportunity to create a strong boundary. Site is currently designated as green belt, site specific green belt. It's close to a local wildlife site, listed park, and potential impact on settings. Now that varied on the 2 sites, and those are Bradford Council's own comments. So never mind any of my comments that I would like to go up, but I will reiterate the highways issue. You've got a very narrow lane. You'll get 2 modern cars going up it, and you're almost brushing mirrors. The 0.8 metre of a footpath has various columns within it, so it ain't going to be 0.8 metres of a footpath. And actually that throws traffic turning into Heights Lane from the Park Road side, further across into Heights Lane, which is an absolutely totally blind entrance. So you would be in the wrong lane as you go around that corner if you push another 0.8 metres across. Exiting that junction, sight line 0 to the left, because there's a house on the corner with a very high stone wall, and the sight line to the right is somewhat depressed by the entrance to Pollard Avenue, and then Pollard Avenue comes out, so the sight line to the right is poor. Highways safety grounds alone would say to me that Heights Lane, as previously dictated by Bradford Council, is not fit for purpose as it is, never mind additional properties, and anything that is within the proposal would actually make highway safety, in my view, almost diabolically less safe. It's not a road for 70 plus houses with God knows how many cars, because there will be 3, 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom houses. Generally when people have got to that size of house, the younger elements of the family most likely started driving or about to start driving, or you've got your parents with you, so there'll be multiple cars per house, multiple journeys on a ultra substandard roundabout. So those are my thoughts and comments, but the rest of them were Bradford Council's, which
Thank you, David.
I sort of agree with.
Andrew?
I think it's been covered.
Bill?
I think it's totally
Coming
unrealistic
out.
to think. It doesn't work at all. Highways, there's no way you can improve Sheriff Lane in terms of a footpath that's big enough. Heights Lane, sorry. With a footpath that's big enough for a mother and toddler to go down safely, or with a pram, or even with a dog. It doesn't matter, it's not wide enough.
Okay. Philippa?
I think we do need to be cognizant of the fact that Bradford, notwithstanding we don't agree with it, have put forward the 2 parcels of land. They are in the emerging local plan, as being there for housing. I agree with everything everyone said about highway safety. It's a very narrow road. Because we know Bradford can sometimes do things that we don't agree with, I think we do need to consider what we would want the state as well if they are minded to go forward. And for me, that would need to be, there would need to be. I think you'd put the pavement on the other side because it looks wider to me on the north side of the road. Just looking at it, if you were going to, I don't agree that you should, but if you were going to, I think that's the side you'd put it on. You'd also need street lighting. You'd then need a crossing coming out of the development. You'd need a crossing when you get to Otley Road. And all those things, if they decide to go ahead, all those things need to be written in as conditions for things that are put in place. I think one of the other commentators on the plan, which is the Yorkshire Gardens Trust, they've got some lovely words in there, which is the builder's speculative extension of the site beyond the 2 parcels that Bradford have put in, which makes the rest of it radically misleading. Their words, not mine, which I would wholeheartedly agree with, because they're saying up to 70 houses, but everything's only got 54 on it. You know, even if they build it, they're still going to build red brick for most of it, which would be horrible. The housing mix compared with what we believe Bingley needs, again, is completely wrong, as we said with Coolgardie. We would recommend less than 10% of 4-bedroomed upward houses. That's not what they're proposing at all. It is part of the Bradford Green Infrastructure Corridor, and that does need to be maintained. So they would need to ensure that the site was permeable for anything. They do have to produce a biodiversity net gain. That's not there at all at the moment. So they shouldn't be doing it. It's the wrong place. We don't agree with release of greenbelt there, but if they do it, I think we do need to state some of the things we would want to see happen to make it as safe as possible. Because if not, then they can just do what they want.
Rachel.
Yeah, as everyone said previously, the main thing for me is the highways and also the pedestrian access. There doesn't look to be any additional provision for pedestrian access into the development. These are family homes, aren't they?
Yeah.
And there are going to be children who are going to be wanting to access the pedestrian way who do not have a car because they're not old enough to drive. At primary school, some primary schools allow young people to start making their way to and from primary school to show they're a bit more mature from the age of 10. I shudder to think of a 10-year-old trying to access that and, God forbid, you know, tripping up or falling into the road. It does look like a path has been made that maybe goes into Prince of Wales Park to give some pedestrian access, but would you want your 10-year-old going through there, or even a teenager going through there when it gets dark at night? I'm not sure if anybody would, to be honest.
Any older person.
Well, exactly, anybody. You know, it's going to get dark in about half an hour's time. I'm not sure I would particularly want to walk through there. So you could say, well, that's a safer way in because there's no traffic, but it's still not safe. I just don't think there's any consideration here for pedestrian access, which is ridiculous considering half the people living on this development won't be able to drive.
Thank you, Rachel. Ashraf, have you anything to add?
I think I share one or two comments. Obviously, you know, I mean, I think the main one concerns me because I've been around there and it's really narrow, that road itself. I'm thinking it's going to, as Rachel said, it's going to bring in probably, you know, these houses are going to bring in more traffic and cars into the area. And also in terms of the, obviously, I'm really concerns in terms of the green belt aspect as well. I think that, you know, we need to, I know we want to build houses, but sometimes we have to look at where we build it in terms of the brown site. You know, I mean, fair enough, but sometimes we need to keep some of that reserved nature, really. So in that sense, that's really a few of the comments in terms of against this proposal.
Yeah, just picking up on something Rachel mentioned about the access through the park. We've got to look at disability and access. If you've got a wheelchair or a mobility scooter, you're not going to be able to go down a 0.8 metre footpath with 2 or 3 poles already
not
in
at
it.
all.
So, disability wise, you're saying to anybody in that development, up Heights Lane, you basically can't use that path.
Yeah. If you just say,
You won't
Now,
be
to
able-
me, that is all totally and utterly wrong. You then, like the young people, or your good lady, or grandma, or whatever, asking them to walk through an unlit park in the middle of the dark. Really?
yeah.
Public safety? I am sorry. That's just way and above the pale. So, a disabled person in a wheelchair or whatever, and to roll themselves through Prince of Wales Park in the dark, has an issue. There's nobody passing
No.
at all. It is a total sop to try and get this through, the access through the park. And quite frankly, it's just not tenable at all, using that as an argument. Public safety, disability, access, no.
So it sounds, and I'm in agreement with what everybody said. I've not anything to add, but I agree with what everybody has said tonight. It is tremendously just not a good idea. So I think we've reached the stage where we can put a proposal forward. So I'm asking you, David, if you would like to
Well, yeah,
put a
I
proposal
think
forward, please.
we propose to refuse said thing on highways safety, and I'm sure we can write the relevant bits into that. Yep. And the damaging effect on the green belt and the setting of Prince of Wales Park and the removal of a potential site within the South Pennines Moor, site of scientific interest, SAC and HRA, which will be denied to local flora and fauna.
Does that sound cover everything?
What else you say?
Disabled access?
Disabled access, yeah.
Yeah. And I'd also like to add that if they are minded to approve this, we'd like it to go to planning panel. I think it's
Yeah.
most important, so that we can again have our say. So David has proposed it. Can we second it, please? Philippa, all in favour? Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for your comments.
Thank you, okay, we should leave now.
Yes,
No, you've got to stop for all meetings.
you have to stop for another 10 minutes and meeting will be over.
Thank you so much.
No, that's all right.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you for listening.
So we're voting against it, but we don't have a say, we just put
Have the fans.
the comments forward.
I know, but I appreciate what you said, that's very, very good.
I think everybody said
Thank
how
you.
everybody feels.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank
When
you.
you get to the door,
Just press.
there's a white light switch on the left. If you press that, it'll open the door.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Returning to the agenda then, back to number 123/02-559. Rachel.
So this is the opticians on Main Street, and currently it looks like it's 2 separate shops, and they want to change the shop frontage so it looks like one shop.
Yeah.
It was rejected because it's in a conservation area and previously, and the materials weren't in keeping with that. I personally don't have an issue with it. I think it looks neat and tidy. But then again, I'm not an expert on the materials that need to be used for a conservation area. So if somebody knows something else about that,
Andrew.
I think we should retain the conservation materials, because once it's sidestepped by one, it would open a floodgate for all. Now, we've had to obviously adhere to this particular issue with the station master's house, and obviously it was on the forefront to the conservation officer Well, I think if we start to change material usage, we're going to end up with a town full of plastic. We're going to end up with
Yeah.
modernisation throughout. I have no objection to it being developed as long as it's done sympathetically with the appropriate material.
It's going the other way.
Yeah.
It's currently
Going back
horrible, and it's coming back to being
Right.
a,
It's
wooden
glass.
wooden cladding.
So I was saying then that we-
it
If we can
will
get it
be
up so we can
will
have a
be
look at the
an
picture.
absolutely
Yeah.
significant improvement on what's there at the
Because
moment.
currently it's 60s and aluminium.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's Howard's opticians.
Opticians, yeah.
Well,
23.
Next
23.
to
Slash
Queen's Court, yeah.
0259.
Stroke FU.
that's quite a nice drawing, isn't it?
If that is the case,
It is
Right,
a welcome.
yeah.
have an issue.
It is a welcome
Yeah.
improvement.
You're not
Once we
searching it.
yield on
Oh no, it's going
materials,
No, it is
Oh,
wood,
sorry, I didn't-
wood
yeah.
cladding on.
I didn't check if the building was listed or anything, was it?
conservation.
It's a conservation
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why at the previous planning we were saying wooden.
So, what are we saying then? Are we saying
Let's have a quick look.
Do you
see
want to have a
that.
look?
022
she couldn't get it if she can't get it?
02599 stroke FUL.
You don't need to put that in here.
Yeah, you should put
No, I don't know.
We don't need
We
them.
don't really need the end bit, but
search.
Yeah, click search.
Oh, it's going, yeah.
The wheel of
Search,
death.
yeah.
It's a wheel, it's coming.
Here we are.
oh, it's fine. Right, okay. We've got it.
Documents.
Yeah.
What do we want to
Sorry
look at
about
then?
Proposed.
is there a design and access
Yeah.
statement?
Proposed elevation, there is one.
elevation.
Proposed east elevation.
Bottom one, yeah.
Shop front elevation. That
Shop
will,
front,
Which
Oh,
one?
yeah, that might not help.
Is that the shop?
it'll show
We'll
you.
have a,
Yeah, if you twiddle down,
Right, shall we just
Oh.
reduce that slightly? So you can see
that's your shop
Yeah.
at the bottom there.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to look like. Can you see the bottom there?
And it's wood.
Yeah.
And it's the,
Wood,
Go for it.
glass. Proposed,
well, it's
isn't it?
Rachel's.
Right, I propose accept.
I'll second it.
All in favour?
Yeah. That's the direction we need to be going.
It is, definitely.
And we don't need to make any comments then?
No.
No.
Happy laddies.
Good.
Well, I think our comment is we're happy.
Yeah.
It is
Well-
a distinct improvement.
Yeah.
Good. Number 2, 23/028883, David.
Part demolition of
Garage.
garage, single story, side and rear extension, roof windows. I honestly don't have an issue with it.
So you propose it
I'll
then?
propose it.
Do a seconder? Ashraf, all in favour? Yep, thanks. We have done number 3, so we're on to number 4. Can we get that? Wait a minute. Number 4, 23/03091. Andrew, please.
There's got the
Yeah, I've got the thing. It's a resubmission, and
Yeah.
I searched high and low really to see what, if anything, there was a great difference of. And I think one had dashed render and one had cement render. To be honest,
It's got
there's-
roof lights in it.
yeah,
That's all I
yeah.
found.
to be honest, it's the changes I think are insignificant to what they've got full planning permission for. So I've been happy to approve.
So you're approving it. Do you have a seconder? Yeah, all in favour? Thank you. Number 5, 23/03043. You've got it all tonight, David.
Not too bad. Right, the Heights Lane. That is a little hamlet, I suppose you could call it, above Chewett Lane. As you're going out of Eldwick, the development is at the right-hand side. And it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, barns and old farmhouses up there, but the development seems to be relating to the rear of the properties. It's some nice French windows. I honestly can't see that there's an issue to it. You know, it's set back from the road. Don't really look as though it's going to impinge on the neighbours.
Are you proposing? I was just going to
No,
ask.
I was just wondering, I didn't like, and I had no problem with the ground floor of this, but it seems to be that they want to put up a very large zinc-clad dormer in an area that has no dormers at all and has stone slate roofs. It seems to me that bit of it seems to me to be completely inappropriate.
It's
So that's the first.
agricultural.
That would be the first floor part of it.
Do you want the first floor plan
Yeah.
or the ground floor plan?
It's agricultural.
Yeah, but
It looks like a
it's
bar.
very agricultural.
So what are we saying then? David is proposing approval?
No, I'm quite happy to,
Or
Can you get there is one that has a picture of what they're
That'd be
proposing.
an elevation.
which one?
Two.
Yeah, maybe.
That one.
I don't know, Nicola, which one we want to.
Yeah, so that bit
Yeah.
at the bottom
Is it?
bottom
Yeah.
left hand side
Yeah.
is what they're proposing to put up. So it's a dormer all the way along the side at the top there.
Mm.
It strikes me as being, I don't know if that's the front or the back. I honestly have no idea.
So what are we saying then? What are we saying?
back.
Very industrial looking.
It is very industrial.
Zinc clad.
Yeah,
dormer.
I
No,
think- I
it's
think
all right,
the
move no
material-
comment then.
I think the materials are completely inappropriate.
Are you proposing no comment or
Or what are you proposing?
what are
Sorry.
you proposing?
Rejection.
I'd reject it because I
I'll
think
second that.
I think the dormer's just wrong.
So Philippa is proposing
Second.
rejection on the grounds of
There are no
Please.
there are no dormers in the area, so it's an inappropriate design with inappropriate materials
Yep.
for the local area.
and have we a second of that?
Yeah.
And do we all in favour?
I'll go with it, somebody suggested it.
Yes?
I'll abstain.
And I'll abstain as well. Instead of that, how near is that to this other development that we've been talking about? Is this further out?
Further
Further out, yeah, it's a totally little separate hamlet
Quarter of a mile.
above the
So it's quite a
fields.
bit
Yeah.
away, yeah. Number 6 to 23/02941, 31 South Hill Drive, Gilstead. Mr. Fenton or Mr.
So here
Haslett.
we go.
Yeah, it's by the Gilstead Church, very steep cul-de-sac that goes down. There's all sorts of bits of developments down there, side and rear, you name it. Part of it is replacing an existing conservatory that's there. I honestly don't have an issue with it.
So you're proposing approval?
It's
Andrew
the sort of the trend, isn't it? Get rid of the conservatory,
Yeah.
just make it into a
I'll
normal.
second that out.
All in
Well-
favour?
Well, it does actually say they have got permission for a 2-story extension, but they can't
Yeah,
afford
yeah.
to do it anymore. So they've got,
All in favour?
they've
Thank you.
gone down.
Downsized, yeah.
Yeah, they've gone down.
Number 7, 23/02 998, and I sent this to Philip and David so that hopefully between them they could understand it and
Well,
throw some light
do you
on
want to go
it.
first?
I'll go first with a history lesson,
Yeah.
shall I? Because I've been back through it. So this is a site that got original planning permission in 2006. That planning permission was revised in 2008. There was a number of planning conditions put on it. In October 2010, the developer then, I think it's been through a number of hands over the years, put in an application to discharge conditions 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11 and 14, which are the ones that they needed to submit things for. Of that, it was part approved and part not. So 3, 6, 7 and 8 were not discharged, so those planning conditions remain. One of the plots and the houses in it, they did some more work on it with further planning applications in April 2011. It then went to another builder, as far as I can work out, who in March 2022 did put in a submission for conditions 3, 6, 7 and 8, but that was withdrawn in May 2022. And now we seem to be with yet another developer who has put in this application for a certificate of lawful development, and the application cites conditions 2, 6, 7 and 8. It does not cite condition 3 at all. Condition 2 was a contribution under section 106 for 11k. I have no idea if that was ever met or received. It's impossible to tell from the planning decision. But what they seem to be now asking for is, so in the intervening period, they have built 2 of the 11 houses.
Right.
The 2 nearest the road and the existing houses have been built. The others haven't. They now seem to be wanting a certificate of lawful development for the ones they have built and the ones they haven't built without meeting the planning conditions. And whilst I might be sympathetic for the 2 they have built, I am not sympathetic in the slightest for the ones they haven't built, because the conditions that they've not met are the facing and roofing material for the buildings, having the vehicle and pedestrian access in place before they start building it, tree protection measures and the landscaping plan, and giving money for recreational things, which is what the 11k was for. So I have no sympathy with them for I see no reason why they would get a lawful certificate for things they haven't built yet without meeting the planning conditions. And because they've got the application wrong on the others, because they've got 2, I think it's just wrong and it just gets rejected.
So is anyone in those houses?
The 2 that have been built, yes. People are living in them,
But they're not lawful developments.
but they're not lawful developments.
How do they get a mortgage?
Well, that's their problem.
That's their problem. Yeah.
David, come back to
Well,
you.
that's a very
That's a worry
good.
for them, I'm worried
That's
for
a very good resume of the situation. It has a long and checkered history, to which, in a previous role, I have had some involvement with. And yes, they're wanting this certificate to say it meets legal requirements. Well, I think, as Philippa says, we could maybe go down the line with the ones that have been built and occupied, but how can you say when the rest of it hasn't been built that it meets the legal requirement when there are so many imponderables, including a list of conditions?
We're lowering the bar, aren't we, if we do that?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We're lowering the bar to be just don't do anything for a number of
So,
years, and
yeah,
then you
and then
don't
we'll
have to
get
meet
down to
any
it.
conditions.
So
Yeah.
what do you want to do then?
We're going to reject the
Reject,
application
yeah.
for the certificate.
We're going to
Propose
proposing,
or second it, I'm not bothered either way.
proposing refusal on the grounds of
Done a rubbish job. Do your job properly.
Yeah.
They've not. It's wrong. Their application is wrong, and whilst we might be sympathetic for an application citing the correct conditions for plots 1 and 11, the plots they haven't started building yet, there is no reason we can see why they should get a certificate in advance of clearing the conditions.
Yeah, can I just ask Philippa, you said that they didn't receive building control. It just says here, doesn't it? The works has been inspected by Bradford Council Building Control, and 2 properties, plot 1 and 11, have been completed. So I would have presumed that they've met.
You can get building regulations without planning.
Would it? Yeah. So
But-
they've met
but-
certain conditions, haven't they?
Yeah. If we say yes to this, it means that the development, whatever the throw up, meets legal requirements.
Yeah.
It don't. It's a whole hodgepodge
The
of
2 that have
conditions.
the 2 that have effectively been signed off by building control, we can say we will. That's why I'd be minded
Yeah,
to
that's
say
right,
we'd give them, because they've been signed off by building control. a certificate of
What is
lawful-
it? Can you just tell me again? What is it they're missing?
Yeah.
Those 2 properties that have been completed. What do they need?
As properties, they don't need anything. You have to assume that building control have signed off what's there, and that the other conditions that were just there for building control to effectively sign off have been done. They've been built, so if they didn't do tree protection measures whilst they built it, there's nothing we can do about it now. You know, they're at the front of the site, so there isn't really a lot of landscaping.
Have you managed to get all that, Nicola?
So I think we just reject it. Yeah.
And David seconded it.
No, so
Yeah.
All in favour?
I'll email you. Let's work it out.
Was there
Thank
the
you.
work this still needs to be finished off? Is that the thing?
They haven't even started
Started.
on numbers 2.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm talking about the 2 plots that are
Can we move on,
No,
please?
people aren't living in them.
Yeah, I
People
know,
have been
but
living in them for years.
I know, but they're not. So they've not got a lawful development certificate.
No,
But what do they need to get one?
they've got to put it, well, they would need to put in a proper application that cites the appropriate conditions,
And
doesn't
two
cite,
properties.
doesn't cite beyond what they want.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look into
So they want the
legal
development
requirements.
rather
They
than
want the
just the
whole
two that are
thing to be
finished.
declared lawful.
Okay.
If they just put in for plots 1 and 11 and cited the right conditions,
Right. Yeah.
Right.
then they would
Yeah.
probably get that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
And number 8. 23/03188 Philippa.
Yeah, this is down Castlefields Lane. It's an extension on the side and the back of the property. You can't really see it because it's at the back. Yeah, at the back of the gardens. From looking at the plans, the roof lines look a bit odd, but other than that, really,
It's a bit big, isn't it?
There's quite a number of all sorts of different
Yeah.
extensions and developments, and they've got exceptionally long gardens with all sorts of garages, constructions, whatever, all down there till you get down to the bottom of Castlefields where it's the old
can you bring this
actual
one up?
Castlefields
Number 8.
hamlet.
Yeah.
Because the thing I wasn't sure about is they're
Zero,
proposing
three,
flat
one,
roofs rather than pitched roofs as well.
You know,
Just
Castlefield,
looks
whereabouts is
tall,
it? Is it near the
Three,
you know,
Yeah, as you
bridge?
go past Bingley Grammar,
Yeah, yeah.
turn left onto
That's right,
industrial
you go-
estate,
Go straight
but
down.
straight down rather than
Yeah.
to.
Is it before the
But go
cricket
straight-
club?
I know, yeah, that's the one.
Is it
Oh,
before
it's
the
well
cricket
before
club?
Well
the
before
cricket
that.
club.
Yeah, yeah.
You know where
Just after Bingley
Screwfix
Grammar.
Yeah,
is?
Screwfix, yeah, I know where it is. Yeah.
Can I have one person talking at one
Sorry.
at a
If you
time,
know
please?
where Screwfix is,
Yeah.
keep going straight down. Don't turn right round there. Go straight down the bottom, and it's down the bottom on the
Where
left.
it
Oh, I know what you
side.
mean now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Been there,
it's
that's-
just meant to
What do you
run,
want to look at,
Can you show us the
please? Location plan? No.
roof plan and 3D view?
Roof plan and 3D view. Second to bottom.
Let's see if we. Yeah, so it looks a bit odd, doesn't it?
Because they've got the money to do it properly.
It does look a bit odd, doesn't it?
It does look rather strange.
I think what my worry is with that area is because it's so prone to flooding, the more you build on it, the less there is for the water to drain away and go into the ground. I know it's not going to make much difference, but the more you build it up, the more the flooding problem is going to be there.
Well, people are shaking
It's already flooded big time there, right? Right.
I mean, it does look to me to be a bit of a dog's breakfast.
Strange.
So
It is strange in terms
No,
of
no
roof
one's
lines.
complained against it,
Are you
have they? So
proposing, Philippa, approval
Well,
or refusal?
comment.
No comment, I think.
You're proposing no
Unless
comment?
someone wants to.
I'll second the no comment.
Yeah.
All those in favour of no comment?
Stick with that.
Probably the best thing on
Saying
that.
that I could do the same thing.
Finally, 23, 24, 50 to note the date of the next planning meeting, Tuesday the 10th of October. And thank you very much and
And I'll give my apologies now.
good night.
Where are you off?
I know for